Hi all, my name is Chris Siegford and this is my visualization demo. For my topic, I chose mental health in the United States in 2023. I did create an application, so I'll be able to give you guys a link. You put it into your browser, hit enter, and it'll pull up this page. I know we were supposed to have two specific questions that we were aiming to answer. And I did have two questions that I came up with, but really this visualization answers more than two questions. It answers a lot of questions, and just as a good way for you to navigate through the data, learn about mental health data, see the different visualizations, and maybe find correlations or new topics to research around it. And I hope that this will be able to be used for that, for new research to offer new solutions for mental illnesses. So when you get into the app, you'll see this title up here, and then you'll see a little excerpt about where this data comes from, what this visualization is doing, and a link to find the survey. So all of it is from the National Health Interview Survey. So that's an important stipulation, basically, about the data, right? Meaning it's all self-reported. They're being interviewed and they're being asked these questions. Because of that, the data could be skewed where, there's still stigmas around mental health. So maybe somebody is really depressed every day and they are reporting they're depressed weekly, or they're depressed weekly and they're reporting they're never depressed. So there's that stipulation in the data. So as you can see, it'll start with this initial chart, and it's always going to start with this option. On the left-hand side is the filter options. So you can select between different groups, adults or children. And then as far as the interaction on the graph, you can highlight different sections that you only want to look at. So if you want to remove the never, you can do that and highlight it, and then you can double click to go back. And then there are two different features you can select to view for both adults and children, and it's how often they feel depressed or how often they feel worried, nervous, or anxious. This filter button lets you select a certain value for them, for those two features. So, for example, how often they feel depressed. Oh, I only want to look at daily people. You can do that, which doesn't really show much because a bar chart is supposed to be comparing the counts or frequencies or values of different categories. And when you do that, you only have one category. So that doesn't help until we go to the second part, which you can see down here. There's a select chart type, and it's automatically selected a single feature, but you can go ahead and select multiple feature. Multiple feature will bring up this second feature list that you can choose from. So there's all these different socioeconomic factors and mental illness related questions that you can choose from, and it's going to show it in the graph. So let's say, for example, we're going to look at sexual orientation, how often they feel depressed, and as you can see, it's always going to be how often they feel depressed on the x-axis, the never, daily, weekly, monthly, a few times a year. Or if you select the how often you feel worried, it's going to be the same values, but it's going to refer to that. When you select your second feature in the multiple feature chart, it will show up these other bars as different colors. So you can see here there's a key: sexual orientation. So the light blue is bisexual, dark blues don't know, the pinkish color is heterosexual, the red is lesbian or gay, and the green is other. Uh, and that's why I have this filter option for the how often you feel depressed or how often you feel anxious, because of the multi-feature. Because then, so let's say you only want to look at people who are depressed daily and how it's different between the different groups. Um, you can also filter the second option. So let's say we only want to look at heterosexual people. So then we can look at the different results for the different heterosexual people. Additionally, you can always, if you don't select any filters, you just select the two different features, you can go over to the key on the right side and you can click to remove certain features. So, and uh, yeah, and it will change the graph to reflect that. And then you can do the same thing. You click them to add them back. And then another important aspect is if you change to the children subgroup, the second feature in the multiple chart feature or multiple feature chart will actually have different features you can select. So basically, whether you select children or adults, it's going to have different second features you can select. It will always show this first feature as either those two options if you're going to look at depression or anxiety. This is because, right, there's certain questions that are illegal to ask children in these types of interviews, like sexual orientation, or if they take medication, or if they see counselors. And then also, some questions can't be applied to both groups. Like if you're asking, does an adult put you down at home? That can only be asked to children because the adult group, they are the adult. So it'd be, it doesn't intuitively make sense. So I hope, and like, the two questions I asked were just basic ones that kind of offer that this visualization app could actually answer. But I feel like, that's putting this app in a box. There's so much more than just two questions that it can answer. So I really wanted to let it be up to the user on what they wanted to explore. I will say a lot of it was hard because we didn't get taught this in class. We only got taught to make a single filter option, drop down filter option on Python for a graph. So it would basically be, do you want to select children or adults, and that'll be it. I knew I wanted to make this multiple interaction to see different correlations and to view different kind of nuances of the data. So to do that, I had to make this app, which is through Streamlit. Um, Regarding the code, I got ChatGPT to write the initial code because it was extremely hard. I tried it myself at first. It was extremely hard learning the new syntax just by yourself and off the documentation. So ChatGPT did help me write the initial code, and it was very basic. It was basically selecting children or adults, and then like selecting the how often they feel depressed or how often they feel worried. So I came up through trial and error, through asking ChatGPT, through looking it up in the documentation and everything else. I came up with all this. I will say I'm very proud of this app. I think it could definitely be used for future research, and I really hope that it can answer some critical questions around mental health. Thank you.